Franklin. Welcome, 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 welcome to today's forum. We're going to continue on. Mr. Hilliard, we're going to ask you to give your opening statement. Mr. Franklin, we're going to ask you to do yours again. Mr. Hilliard, you may go first.
Good evening.
30 seconds.
Well, good morning. It's exciting to be here and to be back in a place of God where I shared a lot with this church in my former position as on the city council. We worked a lot together on community issues and cleanup programs in the area. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to going back to the Birmingham City Council so we can continue the work that we've done in business, economic development, public safety, and all of the great things that we accomplished while we were in the City Council. So John Hilliard is my name. I'm excited.
Mr. Franklin.
My name is Richard Franklin once again. I'm running for Birmingham City Council District 9. District 9 is comprised of 19 neighborhoods, 6 schools, 18 parks. We're the area in Birmingham where we're really the distressed area that everybody talks about. So today, I want to go through my platform, talk about my plans, but more than anything, let's get down to business and solving problems. So I'm excited to be here. I thank this organization and I thank this pastor. And before I put the mic down, I want to just take a moment of silence for Bishop Calvin Woods that he passed.
Thank you. Here's your first question. Mr. Franklin, you've answered this, so I'm going to start with Mr. Hilliard, and then I'm going to re-ask it so you can have equal time. Is that okay? Okay. And then we'll be back on track with equal time. As one of the members of the City Council, Mr. Hilliard, each with equal power, what approach would you use to make decisions?
Well, first of all,
you do get 2 minutes per question.
Repeat that again. I'm trying to.
As one of the members of the Birmingham City Council, each of you with equal power, what approach would you use to make decisions?
Well, because of because of the Mayor Council Act, the council's power lies in 5 votes. First of all, you have to know how to build relationships and communicate with your other colleagues to get something really done. The council is a very powerful industry when it works together to protect the citizens of the city of Birmingham. So I would use my skill set on building relationship and understanding what each one of my colleagues, what their needs are in their community. Fortunately, our needs are really basically the same. So, the same thing that needs to be happening in District 9 is something that needs to happen across the city of Birmingham. So I will use my skill set and relationships to work with my colleagues to take care of the business of the city of Birmingham and affect our budget as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Franklin, knowing that you all have equal power, what approach would you use to make decisions at Birmingham City Council if elected?
First, it starts with the neighborhood and communities. Anything I ever vote on, it will always go back to what the neighborhood and communities want. We've seen that be an issue throughout the city and throughout District 9. But also, more than anything, my colleagues on the council, we must stick together. I hear a lot these days about counting to 5, but over the last 8 years, I've only seen the city council vote against the mayor 2 times. They vote unanimously for the budget over the last 8 years, unanimously for the budget. So I want to get into a talk about, if we're going to really do something, talk about what's in the budget. The meat of the council and the power of the council starts with their budget. And if we don't start voting the budget down, then we're going to have issues. And I used to work for the city so people will know it won't stop city business. It will revert the budget back to the previous year budget so things will continue to run. So let's get into a deeper conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Franklin, what is the biggest challenge currently facing the city of Birmingham in your opinion? What is the biggest challenge currently facing the city of Birmingham in your opinion?
Crime. Crime is the #1 issue. Even though crime is down, violent crime is up. And I think many of the things that we talk about that affect many of our communities is the disinvestment. Things that we used to have in the city that we invested in, we don't invest in anymore. And I often tell people we must go back to the meat of a community. We must invest in parks. We must invest in our park and rec centers. We must invest in our libraries. We must invest in our schools. If you look at the city budget, the budget is a $591 million budget, and it's been going the last 4 years, breaking the record, but you see little investment going on into the neighborhoods. And the last piece that I want to say is that even if you look at trash, we all talk about the city being nasty. We used to go from have 2 days of service, now we have 1 day of service. So therein lies the problem, and it was voted on and it wasn't discussed. So the biggest thing I would say crime, but all of those things in my mind goes all together. But crime is number one because right now there's a perception, even though here we say it's down, but nationally, when you look at when we finish where our numbers are, Birmingham will probably be number 5 in the country with homicides. So crime is really not down, it's just down from last year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hilliard, what is the biggest challenge you think the city of Birmingham currently faces, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, let me say this. Crime is definitely, public safety is a huge issue in our community. I will address that by going back to community involvement. We need more community involvement from our churches, from our community leaders involved in our crime in our city. I think that committee to serve Jefferson County said something very well, that they went to the school board and they implemented a program that will help guide young children into our police force, because we're short on our police officers. So that's something we really need to look at. And I will say this, I won't do what our present council person has done. She took almost $500,000. She sent it to Philadelphia, and I don't hear much talk about this. She sent that money to Philadelphia to get somebody from Philly to come to District 9 of Birmingham and talk to us about crime. And ain't nobody said a word about who is that man, what his organization is, and why would we pay him $500,000 to talk about crime and show us in Birmingham how to save crime. I'm mad about it. I want to know more about it, and you should be asking questions. Where is your money? Why did they send that money to Philly to do something about crime in Birmingham? That's why she ain't here, because she don't want to face some questions and she don't want to face some answers. But I will specifically make sure that your money is spent well in District 9 in the city of Birmingham to do something about crime, and I'm mad
30
at
seconds.
everything.
Okay. Mr. Hilliard, what is the biggest challenge currently facing District 9, which you are trying to be elected to represent?
Wow. You know, we have issues in District 9 really affects the same issues across the board in the city of Birmingham. I want to first of all say we got to conquer blight. Blight is a big issue in our community. How would John Hilliard conquer blight? I will work with my other colleagues to pull together what I call a blight bund. A bund that we would float to gather up tons of money to come in and clean up these abandoned lots, these abandoned houses. I've researched it. I brought in some investment bankers. I brought in some people from New York and Atlanta. We drove District 9 street by street, and we realized we need to clean up these lots and these properties so that we can bring new developers in. Some of our small business developers, some of our investors that flip homes and know how to do it, they want clean properties and a clean slate. District 9 can be as awesome as any of the other communities around Birmingham. So that's one of the things we would, number one, do. Now let me tell you what I have done to help District 9. I want you to think about this. I worked on homes and houses in matter of fact, in my opponent's community. We built homes in that community. I cut ribbons for new homes across Birmingham, down the Jackson-Olin area. We have done that. Not only that, let me tell you this. A lot of people try to take credit. They all rush down to Birminport. They rush down to Birminport to get attention. But Birminport is a water port that borders District 9. I put the seed money down at Birminport to raise $8 million, where we have just built a structure down there that would house and generate economic development and create jobs.
Seconds.
I want to say to you, I'm working hard in District 9, and I know what to do from day one. Thank you.
Mr. Franklin, what is the biggest challenge currently facing your district that you're trying to represent, District 9?
Let me stand up when I say this. We're lacking unity and leadership. It goes hand in hand. We have not been brought together. We have 4 state representatives that represent this area. We have 2 county commissioners that touch our district. And we also have 2 state senators. You may say, Mr. Franklin, why are you bringing it up? Because with those titles, it brings money. But what we have going on has been going on for a long time. We don't work together. We don't leverage that money. So that's a lot of the issues that we have. If you go into the Dolomite area on 10 Mill Road, Commissioner Scales is the representative, the county commissioner. She actually put money to fix that road. But we as a council, we have to give permission. So one of the things, most people don't know that, we're not leveraging in all our positions that we have. So many of the issues that we talk about from the roads, when we talk about with the blight, we don't have a plan. So that's the other piece, why I said we all have to come together. It may sound simple what I'm saying, but think about it, you've never seen it. You see pockets of it who like each other. You also hear when it's done, you never see these things. You're going to see me as the council person, everything that I'm saying, because I already have the ability to bring everybody together, and you're going to see it. This is going to be a new District 9. It's going to be a model, not just for District 9, for the city of Birmingham. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Neighborhood investments, neighborhood revitalization. Concerns have been raised about the unmet neighborhood needs and disparities in city services. Some candidates have criticized funding cuts to neighborhood associations. What is your plan to re-engage not only neighborhood associations, community leaders, clergy, and others around you to help you lead? Mr. Franklin, I'll let you go first, and then Mr. Hilliard.
Well, first, remember I talked about that budget? Now I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. That $2 million the council the last 8 years has approved it. So what I would do is not approve it. There are things that are in the budget that we're sitting here talking about, not just in District 9. A lot of rhetoric is going on, but you have to have the courage to vote no. And when you just vote no, you're not just voting no, you're letting other councilors know, let's stand up. Let's stand up for the people that elected us. At one time, neighborhoods used to get $5 to $10 million. You say, how will I engage them? I will have every 2 months, I will have meetings in District 9 where you will be able to talk. People say, Richard, why are you saying that? Because if you've been to a District 9 town hall meeting, it's wrote on a piece of paper. No, we're going to talk with each other. And we're going to have solutions. And what I'm going to do is have the staff there, and I'm going to take it back to the mayor. The example that I give people is when you bring issues to me, every Tuesday, I will notify the mayor and his staff of what's going on. And then when it comes to the neighborhoods, I will not vote on any project that you have not been told about, and I will not vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard.
Well, first of all, let me say this, the city council is a body that really is independent of what we have going on in the city. If the council was to work together, you would be more powerful than you could ever imagine. Unfortunately, because of the Mayor-Council Act, the power has been shifted towards the mayor's office. Now, the mayor doesn't have a vote on the Birmingham City Council. And that's very interesting to me, because you have no vote on the Birmingham City Council, but all the money that's raised comes to the mayor's office, so that then the mayor can pick who he wants for the Birmingham City Council. Those are things we've got to change. We've got to change. And let me tell you where that starts at. That starts right here in your neighborhood, right here in your community. Neighborhood officers are very important, and they're more powerful than people realize they are. But we can't accept it. We can't allow government, which is your city council, the city hall, to have these CROs that comes in, and now they're taking over and telling the people what they can and cannot do. I have a problem with that. When you have power, you have to learn to use it. And what I would say to our neighborhood officers and our community, you have a lot of power. And you can use your power to really exercise it, to make a huge difference in the city. Now, when I served on the council, I fought like everything to make sure you had the money you needed to go on your conventions and seminars, to make sure it was there. In the city, the mayor's office fought against that. Didn't want you to have it. All I want our community leaders to remember, who fought for you when you really needed it and to make it happen? John Hilliard is that candidate. I fought for you and I'll fight again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. As a sitting city council member with this Mayor Council Act, as so many of you have illustrated, that it is hampering and it's hamstringing you to when a constituent calls you and says, I need help in my community, and the answer is, well, I can't do nothing because of the Mayor Council Act, because mayor, department heads, but what would you do to avoid that? Because what appears to be happening is that when people get elected, they have amnesia. And when they get elected, and right before an election, all of a sudden stuff is getting done. What would you do to make sure that your commitment to the community is a continuous thing? And what would you do to make sure that that Mayor Council Act does not hamper you from working with others or doing things that you might have to go outside to do maybe on your own, Mr. Hilliard?
Wow. I often tell people there is power in the position. Now, don't get me wrong. I tell people a lot of times titles are one thing, but just by having title and experience and knowledge, if you know how to use it, you can do a lot with it. So, John, what do you mean by that? Well, let me tell you, as my title as a Birmingham City Council, I use my knowledge from my past lives in the legislature, from my past lives as a voting poll chief right here in this community. I use that in my relationships to make a difference. So what we did, the mayor came to me, he says, hey, I found $58 million in the budget. I can remember like it was yesterday. I said, you did? He says, yes, and he slid it over. He said, this is what I'm gonna do with it. I said, Mayor, that's very interesting. I wish you will. He said, you gonna vote for it? I said, no. He said, well, why not? I said, Mayor, you didn't ask me what District 9 wanted. What's in it for us? Tell me how this affects us and what made you come to a conclusion without asking me first. The citizen of District 9 wants to know what is gonna happen for us. So he said, well, what do you want? I said, I'll tell you what I want. I want that one Pratt Park finished. I need the money for one Pratt Park to make it complete. So every time each and every one of you walk through that one Pratt Park, remember, that was because I knew what to do and I knew how to handle it. And we got the money for one Pratt
30
Park.
seconds.
And we cut the ribbon for one Pratt Park. I did that. Thank you.
Mr. Franklin.
I don't want any more power. I want to follow the rules we have because my background is dealing with the Birmingham Board of Education. Many of you know me in that role as a union president. I've never been a board member or superintendent, but guess what? As a council person, I understand the power of negotiating. You have to negotiate from the beginning. You have to go in knowing what you want. The power of voting no. I want everybody to realize, yes, the power was taken from the council. But if the council is currently always, the last 8 years, voting everything except 3 items down, you're giving your power away. You can't negotiate anything, even in the budget. When we talk about one Pratt Park, Railroad Park is in the budget. Every other park that's not in our area is in the budget. Go look at the park and look at the upkeep. It's the council's job to advocate, legislate, and pass a balanced budget. It is not the council's job to run the day-to-day operations. The council job is to advocate. So the issue that even you gave former Commissioner Smoot, what Richard would do is I would advocate to the mayor's office of what my neighborhoods already want when issues arise. I know I cannot direct department heads, but I have the ability to email and let them know what's going on, and also let the mayor's office know what's going on, and hold the mayor accountable when there is no response.
30 seconds.
And the biggest thing is that when issues arise and the mayor won't answer, the council still has the ability to add neighbors and community to the agenda and let them address the mayor.
Your next question. It appears that council members are currently very, very silent. It also appears that the council members have not been very vocal in regard to the Waterworks Board, in regards to some major things that have happened. And would you be a rubber stamp vote, or are you comfortable being independent and standing alone with your community? Mr. Franklin?
Those of you that know me, I've always stood alone. And that's what makes you a leader. I have not been elected to the Birmingham City Council, but I'm the only candidate that is sitting here that took the time to spend my money to go down about the waterworks. So I will never be a rubber stamp. I will always vote with the people's interests. I know that I have to negotiate things, but guess what? When I'm negotiating, I will always communicate with you to know what I'm negotiating on. So they're silent because they've been compromised. And before I go to my seat, go look at everybody's campaign finance. You'll understand why people are silent. Look at my campaign finances. I'm funding my own campaign. I've been going door to door. I was very light-skinned before I started. I'm turning darker. But at the end of the day, I'm here to represent District 9. I'm not playing, and I'm not against anybody. It's about you, the people, and you have a decision to make on August 26th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hilliard.
Wow, you said a lot when you talked about that water system. It strikes a nerve with me. It really, really bothers me. I'm going to say that, out front. I served in the legislature for 10 years. Every year that I served in that legislature, it was their talk about taking the water system from Birmingham. They want the water system, they want the airport, they want the police department, and they want your fire department. They want to turn it all to regional government. And let me say this to you. We have to be vigilant from the beginning. People often ask me the question, whose fault is it that we lost our water system? Well, first of all, let me say this. When I served in the legislature, Dick Arrington, the mayor of the city of Birmingham, he was vigilant. He had somebody on top of that stuff from the governor's office to the city council's office. It was across the board. And let me tell you this, I got a problem with that because I realized that our house was left unattended. And that's why we lost our water system. And I'm gonna tell you something. You can get near vice on that city council if you want to. You see what we got with the current one we had? Nothing. Now here we stand now talking about you need somebody with experience and who know what to do. I tell you this, you didn't lose the water system up under John Hilliard's administration when I served in the city on the state legislature. And you won't lose anything else if you get somebody who knows how to govern and make something happen. I can make that happen. I have the intel, I have the knowledge, I have the experience to help you maintain away from regional government. Thank you.
Last question before we take a question from the audience. In the current administration and your current representation, why are you running? What is wrong? Why are you running? What is wrong with the current leadership at this point in time that has possessed you to run against a sitting incumbent? Mr. Franklin?
First of all, I'm a person that believes when you're a leader, you get ahead of issues. The issue that I see is that we're reactionary. When crime was bad, we were reacting. It was our fault. That's what was told to us. When the roads are messed up, they say it's our fault. So I put myself up. But first I was asked by the people, the neighborhood officers. I'm from the Smithfield community. They asked me to run. Then some kids asked me to run. Then my neighbors asked me to run. So the people have faith in me. It starts with the people. So I'm running because, hey, we gotta do something, not just different, but we on life support District 9. We have 19 neighborhoods and the median income in District 9, when you average all the neighborhoods up, is $23,000 a year. We have two grocery stores, but where they sit, majority of our district is in the food desert. Nobody wants to talk about it. We've been disinvesting. But we've been voting on everything outside our district. And before I go to my seat, they played a trick on us. They built a stadium and they built an amphitheater in another district, then turned around and said it was in District 9. We're not gaining anything by these amenities being in our district because none of the money goes back to our district. So guess what? If it was 1%, where would we be? So when you say, why am I running? It's time for change. It's time to do something different. If you believe that everything's okay, keep what you have now or go back to what you had before. But I'm telling you, if you want something different that's gonna make a change and hold me accountable, it'll be Richard Franklin on August 26th.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hilliard.
Wow, I want to thank Mr. Franklin for bringing up and talking about the amphitheater and talking about an improvement in that system down there, which is now in District 9. And I'll be very honest with you, I'm excited to have the amphitheater and all of that in District 9. And let me tell you why. I personally chaired economic development. I worked hard on getting the amphitheater into the Birmingham area. I went to Live Nations, I went to Atlanta, I went to Nashville, and I worked with them to bring the amphitheater here. Why? Because it provides jobs. We have people from District 9 that work at the amphitheater. Even though the tax basis off of it goes to that county system, but if you realize the Birmingham hotels are reaping a lot of money. I'm excited to say to you that we need to be bringing more jobs into Birmingham. Let me say this, I'm not a rubber stamp. Matter of fact, I'm too old to be a rubber stamp for anybody. And I will say to you that I will work extremely hard like I've been doing, like I worked on Birmingham Port and bringing that port here. I was so excited to see us receive that $8 million. And I'm gonna tell you something, that came with negotiations with the senators, our state reps, and our state legislators. We couldn't receive that grant money without having their support. So I believe in networking and working with others. What you'll have in John Hilliard, you won't have a rubber stamp. You have proven leadership, and you'll have someone who believes in it. And I wrap up by saying this. I preached aviation in our last time. And at Carver High School, at Wilkerson Elementary School, I gathered the kids up, got them involved in education and aviation, and started to push, and I will continue to push for my aviation clubs. And last but not least, let me say this, together we'll make a difference. Proven leadership in John Hilliard. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will entertain questions from the audience. Are there any questions from the audience? District 9, Birmingham City Council. Any questions from the audience? Stand up, come forward.
Good morning, my name is Vincent Long. I live in District 9. 2 questions, please. There is, on Forestdale Boulevard, a MAX sign that says that facility is going to be used, I assume, for the MAX buses or transit as a facility. I'd like for you to touch on that in District 9. And the other thing is, I am the youth deacon at Bethel Church. I've worked with kids. Some of them are now 34, 35 years old. I coached basketball for 17 years. You know, during the tornado, we lost our Family Life Center. I go every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with one of our elder deacons who suffered major surgery on his spinal cord to the Bessemer Sports Complex. They have swimming pools, indoor facilities, exercises, and things of that nature. There is no place in District 9 in the western section that facilitates our children, our senior citizens, to have that type of facility. Would you be able to bring something like that to the western area? Right now we have Howsey, Sanford, and McAlpine. The pools are closed in East Thomas. And would you address that for the family life, for the seniors, for the children, and those of us that need a facility like that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin.
I guess I'll start with I don't think I said, I used to be the City of Birmingham swim team coach, and I also work with Park and Rec. So when you hear me talking about the budget, what's changed is in the city budget, we're not investing in Park and Recs. We're not investing in our rec centers. I didn't get a chance to say, but I'm glad you asked that question. There is a plan on the books to get rid of McAlpine and Inslee Rec, which I'm totally against. The plan is McAlpine will become a senior citizen facility and Inslee Rec will be some kid center. They have a family fun center they're talking about at the Crossplex. The reason I'm against it, when I was City of Birmingham swim team coach, and one of the things you just said, a lot of our kids, and they don't come from good family background, so most of the things we're talking about is spending money. So under my administration, We will invest back in rec centers. I've already talked with a lot of people that's running for council, and that is one of the big things we're gonna advocate for. And even when it comes to our senior citizens, it is a travesty that we have rec centers, but our senior citizens having to go to libraries and go to One Pratt Park to have a service that used to be provided for through the city of Birmingham in the budget given to Park and Recs. Even though they're separate entities, don't let anybody fool you. The city of Birmingham puts money into Park and Recs because that's a game that's always been played, that it's the Recs' fault and this and that. If we put the money
30
there,
seconds.
we have to do it. And when it comes to mass transit, we have to also leverage more money to have true mass transit in the city of Birmingham. And I wish I had more time to talk about that.
All right, Mr. Hilliard.
Wow, thank you. Your first question was about the mass transit, and let me tell you this. I appointed Pastor Darrell Cunningham of the New Birth Baptist Church to the Transit Authority. In doing that, they went to research and find out how could they bring and expand MAX. That's an example of it. So when you see that project going up, that's happening in District 9. That's economic development in our community. More people will get jobs working out in that area. That's the type of foresight that I was fortunate to be able to work along with and have. So I want to say kudos to Pastor Cunningham for having that vision. Now let me talk to you about this. A lot of you don't know this, but you see those little transit buses that say Birmingham on demand, those little Mercedes-Benz buses, they move you around. How many of you seen that move around Birmingham? You've seen that. You can ride it for $1.50. That's a John Hilliard project. I went to DC and I sought out how could we improve transportation in Birmingham, and I thought to myself, I said, wow, how come we can't have our on-demand system for Birmingham transit? Because I've listened to the people that ride the buses, and I used to ride the buses, and people say they never arrive on time. You don't know when they're coming. They don't come to your house to pick you up. They come to your block. But guess what? Transportation on demand will come to blocks if you're in that radius to pick them up. That's something that I brought to Birmingham to help move around. So every time you see one of those transit buses or those little mini buses, think about Hilliard, because we help pull that in the area. Those are the type of experience don't come from out of just being on those city council. It comes out of knowing how to connect with people. You invested in me, and it's now my turn to give it back to you. Thank you so much, John Hilliard.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Thank you, Mr. Tate. I appreciate you, Mark, of a good audio engineer. I got 2 mics now. I got a third one over here. I do know how to use microphones. That's my world, and I quite enjoy it. Thank you. Very grateful for being here. Thank you both. At this time, we're going to ask you to take 30 seconds to tell us why you deserve to represent these great people, this great audience streaming, and this is critical as you wrap up. I know you're tired, so you do have a question? You got to make it brief for me. I'm gonna accept that. They told me to wrap it up. We got to get to the mayor's forum. Please be brief.
I'd like to know from both candidates, what are you all going to do about all these overgrown lots, all these abandoned houses in Birmingham? It's been like that for years. This has not just started.
So you're sitting in a place right here, which was the grounds of Bethel Missionary Baptist Church. I like to say missionary because you're sitting in the grounds that was wiped out by a tornado. Wiped clean. Just wiped out. And there was a promise in this community. I covered that story. There was a promise that FEMA funds were coming, that there was going to be rebuilding. There was a plan. In fact, there was a plan to rebuild out here. The guy that's building in Hoover and Trustville, his Signature Homes, had brought a plan, not under the current administration, but the administration before, that looked like, if you are familiar with Robert Trent Jones golf courses, it looked like Ross Bridge. I was there. I was in the room when they had that meeting. I was serving in my capacity. And had it laid out, this gentleman is the largest home builder in America. One of the top 5. He went to Huffman High School. He graduated from UAB. And they kind of patted him on the head. And the plan was to build in Pratt City around, that was wiped out. And the plan, and it's in the record, was to also have it built with the library, the fire. It was beautiful. I saw the plan. I saw it myself. It's done me. So to your question, you are absolutely right. Never got done. Don't know how it stalled out. And don't know where the funds went. They did something with the funds. I know that FEMA had originally had $4 million in funds. That's where it started. Don't know where it is. That was another administration. So to answer your question, Mr. Franklin, I'll start with you. What is the plan? 1 minute. And then, Mr. Hilliard, what is the plan? And certainly you can talk to these gentlemen after this forum.
So you have to have a plan. We've been tearing down houses, not building back, then we turn around and say we don't have money because we're wasting money. But guess what? All those private-public partnerships, Daniel Payne College, there was a plan, and this plan needs to be restored, where you would bring housing to this area. We need to do a public-private partnership, and I'll be very excited, and that's something I'm already working on, because it's people that look like us. And when it comes to dealing with us, we act like we can't do private-public partnerships. But more than anything, you all need to have a
30 seconds.
It's very simple. You see every year the council vote on the budget to tear down houses, but we don't have a plan to build back. Under my administration, there will be a plan to build back, and it will be broken down by each area.
And Mr. Hilliard.
Well, you know, I've said this several times, but I'm glad you asked the question so I can say it again. I brought in some investment bankers from New York and from Atlanta. We rolled Birmingham and we rolled District 9 district specifically, looking because I needed ideas and I wanted to reach out to someone else who kept me thinking. They thought about it. They said, John, in Detroit, y'all remember Detroit was just like ripped up. Economic development, everything had failed in some parts of Atlanta. So we looked around and we saw that you could create blight bonds. A blight bond is a bond that will be floated on the value of our revenue in our cities. We can float a blight bond and raise millions of dollars that can go in and clean us up, and we can look like this Xavier Hoover in Homewood. I'm gonna fight to clean up District 9, but all the city of Birmingham, with whoever our current mayor is, or our council people, we're gonna pass that. And I'm gonna fight for that every day I'm there. Thank you.
Time. Mr. Hilliard, you get to go first, and then Mr. Franklin. 30 seconds. Give us your parting shot.
Wow, let me say this. District 9, I love you. My blood flows through District 9. Everything you gave me the opportunity to serve you as a voting poll chief when I was a young person, and I worked my way up from the voting poll chief to being on the state executive Democratic Committee. I'm a proven leader. And in proven leadership, you know the things that I've done. And I want to ask you to give me the opportunity to complete the job and bring my experience that you've invested in me back to the Birmingham City Council. Thank you so much. John Hilliard, August 26th.
Mr. Franklin.
On August 26th, you have a decision to make. Do you want to keep what you have? You want to go back? Or you want to vote for somebody that's tired to City Hall? I bring a fresh face, new ideas, bringing us together. To me, it's very simple.
15 seconds.
I'm saying things that we've always said we wanted. If you want something different and you feel we deserve better, give me that opportunity to work with you and work together. It's not just about me, it's about us. On August 26th, vote Richard E. Franklin Jr. for your next Birmingham City Council for District 9. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we give it up for these candidates? Thank you all for attending. That concludes our forum for City Council District 9. Vote August 26th. Polls open at 7 and close at 7. We will now regroup. And again, there are refreshments in the festival you may take and partake in all of that. And we will set up right now. Give us 2 minutes and we'll be right back. Point of clarity here. I did receive a call while I was on the dais from Councilor of District 9, Latanya Tate, who had told me she had not been contacted. I contacted the organization, she's listening out there, of record, and I did send her a message back per the organizers. If she would like, we'll be here another hour, if she would like to come, they would accommodate her with equal time, and she can do that. If not, this will be rebroadcast, and they may do something with her to run something within the broadcast, because it will be broadcast several times and so she can get an equal time. Keep in mind, point of clarity, this forum does not have to do that. Repeat, this forum does not have to do that. The organizers are being gracious as they allowed Mr. Hilliard to come in as well as any other candidate. So just for those of you in our Facebook audience and for the audience of record, if Ms. Tate does appear, we will have the forum, and then if she appears here, we allow her to address you and for you to address with the same questions. Thank you so much. We'll be right back, right after this. At this time, welcome into the forum of record today at, again, Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, the mayoral questions and the mayoral candidates. And again, we will go over it. You will have approximately 30 seconds to introduce yourselves and tell us your platform, just 30 seconds in your opening and 30 seconds in your closing. You will be allowed up to 2 minutes to answer. We're going to do a speed round with a minute toward the end, and then you'll give us your parting shot. You've been through this many times with me before, and it's good to see you. I know you're busy. Again, campaigning, folks, is hard. That last swing, that last week, I've been there. I don't even believe it. You don't even recognize yourself. You lose weight. As Mr. Franklin said, he got a little darker. He got tan, and he's out in the sun knocking on doors. And certainly these folks have been to many, many forums. And can we give it up for our candidates? Because they have been out here, and they've been diligent, and I have watched this group, and I'm very honored to be before all of them who decided to get before this community to run. We're going to go in alphabetical order and introduce the candidates at this time. The ones that are not here, the scales have a prior engagement. Ms. Marilyn James Johnson is not here, and Mr. Randall Woodfin is not here. And those were the notes from the organizers. At this time, we will start with Ms. Gavan. I'm sorry, Mr. Africa has joined us. Mr. Africa, Ms. Gavan, Mr. Rice, Mr. Russell, and Mr. Wilson. Mr. Africa, 30 seconds, and your opening statement.
Okay, good evening, or good morning. Good morning. I'm from Africa, born and raised in Smithfield, former neighborhood president in East Thomas. I have an extensive background. In fact, you can put all the candidates combined. They cannot touch my 40 years of community service, getting things done, like forming the Merchant Association, $3 million for Smithfield. Langford hired me to make sure he had 3 votes on the county commission. That's why you have new schools in Jefferson County. I got Bobby Frontieri put away.
15 seconds.
I got Bobby Frontieri put away after 39 years of walking free. That was the last bomber of the 16th Street Baptist Church. Richard Arrington did not call anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gavan. Finally, Gavan, do you have it?
Can you? Oh, thank you. One point of personal privilege, I would not be here if it were not for men such as the great Honorable Dr. Bishop Calvin Woods. So I certainly extend my condolences, and I think it is most apropos to do so in this house of God. For those of you all who do not know, if you failed to get the memo, missed it on Facebook, didn't see it on Twitter or Instagram, I am State Representative Gwendolyn Lely Gavan. I stand here proudly today to be the first woman ever endorsed by the Jefferson County Citizens Coalition to head the ticket to head the ballot for mayor. So with that, endorsements don't vote, but people do. But with that being said, I'm running on a platform of CPR, crime, to conquer, control, combat, P, people protection and progress, R, to reinvest, restore, and revitalize our neighborhoods. Now, our neighborhood advisory participation program, and for crime, certainly we're going to deal with community policing by our Birmingham Protect and Serve Community Policing Act and our Children, Your Child, Our Child program, where we're going to revamp the programs for our children in the city. I'm State Representative Gavan. Thank you.
Mr. Brian K. Rice.
Hello, I'm Brian K. Rice, and I'm running for mayor because I'm extremely concerned about us having an effective government in the city of Birmingham. I'm extremely concerned about ethics in City Hall. I'm I'm extremely concerned about public officials selling properties to themselves and to their friends. That's why my number one focus is ethics in the economy. I am committed to the underserved. I will never abandon the under-resourced neighborhoods. I will continue to invest in the other areas, but we must uplift these other areas so we can create jobs across the city, opportunity across the city, and a lot more. So I just want to say, vote Brian K. Rice, August 26th.
Mr. David Russell.
First of all, let me thank you for having this opportunity. Let me also give a prayer to Mr. Calvin Wood, because I'm not a native from Birmingham, I'm a native from Livingston, and I've learned a lot of my civil rights actor through Reverend Calvin Wood, so my condolences go out to him. But my name is David Russell. Again, I told the moderator that I might have to leave a little early, but I do have another engagement. But my main concern is dealing basically with some of the economic problems that we have in the city of Birmingham. One of my main goals, the first day when I'm elected, if I'm elected, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put boots on the ground as officers that would be able to put our kids in the proper perspective. They just passed a bill that if a child misses 8 days, that
Time. Mr. Woodson.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
One more. Yes.
Hello, I'm Frank Woodson. Glad to be with you here today. I'm a son of the Most High God, being transformed by God, and being transformed. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I've got experience in economic development, community development at the municipality, so I work with 2 mayors. I've got experience working with leadership. I've got experience working with regional economic development, and that's what we need here in Birmingham.
15.
We need someone with experience of working with leaders, effectively working with other leaders to get things done. I do that. I'm looking forward for the opportunity for you all to learn more about me and to serve me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Our first question, what's important for our city right now? What's important for our city right now? Mr. Africa? 2 minutes, go.
The most important thing, which you all must understand, is that America is facing a Mad Max syndrome. Black folks are on the menu, you're not sitting at the table. You must not put another unconscious person in that mirror seat, even if you don't pick me. You better pick somebody that has a consciousness. Security is a major problem right now. You're not going to have growth and business development, nor people wanting to live in your city if you don't have safety. So my plan would be to get 500 to 800 patrol force on horseback, foot, motor patrol, to build Black Wall Streets in Hillsborough, 5 Points West, Smithfield, the little business district of Pratt and Wylam. I drove through Eastlake and Woodlawn the other night. In fact, I called Brandon and told him about it. It's disgraceful that all the money goes to that side of town, not to the west side of town. Out in the northwest side of town, when my parents moved out there across from Sunflower School, they had a grocery store. They had a movie there. You let me from there, I'll make sure we get things done in our community without apology. I do what Manny Jackson did in Atlanta, what Coleman Young did in the good days of Detroit, and what Barry Leary did for black businesses in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Ms. Caban.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am, I would. What's more important for our city right now?
Did you say more or most?
Most or more? What's most or more important for our city right now?
For someone who has worked in city government, worked for several mayors, actually working in administration, working in the public works department, putting myself through law school in the back of a garbage truck, being a city employee, listen, the realization is we're here, we're 1 week out from an election. The reason I pause is this: we know the issues. You you drove here, you see the issues. The Birmingham City lacks administration. You can roll all of these issues up that everybody's talking about. At the end of the day, there needs to be an administrator in City Hall who, first of all, cares about you, who understands the role in the undertaking, who understands the importance of when troubles come within a city. You can't move just when the trouble's coming. You already need to be prepared before they get there. It's simple. Birmingham lacks an administrator who can get the job done. My plan is one that is easy. I'm going to work with the neighborhoods. I'm going to sit down and we're going to develop a plan for each neighborhood. We're going to fix the potholes. We're going to pave the streets. We're going to pick up the paper. But doing it and not having a plan to keep it clean once you do it is for naught if you don't. We must come up with a plan of action that's going to work for the city of Birmingham, in which all people, all citizens can participate. Again, we know the issues. And as a matter of fact, I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. I want to hear about the real solution and the plans to move Birmingham forward and to make Birmingham great again. Simply as I've said, make it make sense, Birmingham. We know what the issues are. The question is who's going to solve the problem and fix the issues for a long-range plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brian K. Rice, what's most or more important for our city right now?
We are in Pratt City right now. We're less than 1 mile away from 1430 Pratt Highway. We have citizens who live on that contaminated land. We need to have that land tested to make sure we're not doing the same thing we did several years ago with Oliver Robinson. That same property, it's things like this that bother me. We've given $5.3 million to buy those 52 lots just less than 1 mile away. We've given the developer $2.9 million to buy cash, another $3.9 million to buy cash, and we have no development less than 1 mile away. We must stop this spending of our money and no development being completed. Mayor Larry Langford said, we're tired of having these groundbreakers. And he was talking about that when we was talking about Railroad Park. It's the first time we're not doing a false groundbreaking. We're doing false groundbreakings over at 1430 Pratt Highway, Ramsey, McCormick, and Inslee, the Crossplex. Everywhere where our communities are, there are false groundbreakers. We must hold our city officials accountable. I am committed to ethics. I am committed to making sure we invest in the underserved. But then in addition to that, we've been having a lot of conferences, a lot of debates, a lot of forums, and we're only talking about one side of the city. We must understand that there's a city of white people too. There's a city of others. We must be honest about what is going on in Birmingham.
30 seconds.
And I just want to be honest with you, vote for Brian K. Rice because I'm committed to learning the history and applying it to make sure we do the right thing going forward. We've been elected politicians and they've been repeating the same failure over and over and over. Vote someone else. Vote Brian K. Rice.
Mr. Russell?
Yes, the first thing I would do is I would have Larry Langford name placed on the crossplate. I bet that's a project he started and well observed. That's just like the amphitheater. The amphitheater is one of the engines that should have been out to the crossplate. And the most important thing I would like to see, I would like to grow the city of Birmingham. At one time, you know that Birmingham was the largest city. Now I think it's number 4. Now what I would do, when I become mayor, I would take it and that Midfield, Lipscomb, Brighton, everything from down through to maybe places like Dover, like those areas. I would involve and put all those areas into the city because why are you going to put them into the city? Once you become again the number 1 largest city in the state of Alabama, all the federal dollars still going up to our Alabama, they will return down here. This is how the city of Birmingham was able to collect money for the Social Security bill, the bank, and also the FBI bill. We can grow the city so we can get the revenue. I would bring those cities in because every student we bring to the city. The city of Birmingham get $12,000 to grow the city. They also get money on what we call the number of roof top you have in your city. That's the economic today. You get money on royalty that you bring into the city. So that will give the city of Birmingham engineering. Third thing I would do, I would make sure that we have parole officers on the street for all our kids, because they just passed a rule for kids just 8 days out of school. That kid we put in a reformatory school. I would make sure that all the kids that had not attended school, they would be able to have a parole officer to make sure they get to school. Several reasons. First reason, when a kid attends school, again, like I said, you get $12,000. You get other money for other things like lunchroom money in terms of school.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Woodson?
Yes. The biggest challenge, problem that Birmingham has right now is leadership. Just a failure of leadership. Where are we going as a city? That's the question. In my mind, Randall Woodfin is not the problem. He's not killing anybody. He's not throwing trash out his window. The reason why he has to go is not because he's the problem, but because he's not the solution. We need a leader that is the solution. A leader that's going to build a team. I'm not going to go pick up trash. I'm not going to do no administration. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to hire those people. And I'm going to hire the best of the best to come in each area, and they will be in front of the video, the camera, and talking about what they're doing to improve it. The needs in Birmingham right now, I have experience working in municipalities in leadership and economic development, director of economic development, director of community development. I've worked with presidential administrations in community economic development and government. I know what needs to happen. We're going to clean up Birmingham, and we're going to clean it up immediately. We've got some 20,000 vacant houses. We've got some 40,000 vacant lots, and right away we're going to reduce that within the first year. We're going to put in a real adopt-a-lot program. So if you take care of that lot on the left or right side of your house, work for 6 months to a year, we're going to give it to you. And we're going to start removing that off, and people will care for it.
30 seconds.
We've got 20,000 vacant houses. We're going to use the land bank to clean those houses up, to take away the acquisition costs. And if you put $60,000 to $80,000 into that house, that will be your mortgage. That means affordable housing for the next 30 years. We're also going to use contractors, local contractors, black contractors to do the work, and they're going to hire our young people in an apprenticeship program with a nationally recognized program. We got to have solutions that really work and do multiple things.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Point of clarity, Richard Arrington had one of the biggest annexation plans in the history of the state. And when the tax base was moving out, he masterfully went in and wrote in unincorporated areas. At this time, you are number 4. The city of Birmingham has been number 1 since the 1800s. Then it went to number 2, then it went to number 3, and then it went to number 4. Part of that was because of annexation. Huntsville is now number 1. Mobile County became number 2 because they went in and pulled in Arrington. I call it pulling in Arrington. They went in and got a bunch of unincorporated areas, and they built their city, and now they've got those voters, and so now they went to number 2, and the Montgomery area went to number 3, Birmingham's number 4, and the number 6 city is Hoover, Alabama. So things are changing rapidly, but annexation is real. But one point of clarity, you need to know about annexation. You cannot rope in Lipscomb, Brighton, Fairfield, or any Midfield, or any other city unless they say they want to be wrapped in, and then you too need to incorporate their debt. The Jefferson County Commission has tried to do it. City of Birmingham has had those talks in the last 20 years. That was a point of clarity for the audience. At this time, the next question is, building new homes in commercial spaces. Building new homes in commercial spaces. Ms. Gavan, what is your plan to build new homes in commercial spaces in the city of Birmingham?
I have a plan. Listen, first of all, before we can talk about building new homes, we must deal with the rent. The rent, R-E-N-T. We have individuals right now that are paying more rent than and they can barely afford to live. We need a rent moratorium here in the city of Birmingham. Not everyone's going to be a homeowner, but since we're talking about home ownership, we must focus in on not just affordable houses. In order to build a livable community, you must have affordable and you must have market rate. Why? Because people deserve choices. We can talk about land banking all we want to. I was one of those legislators for the last few years. We've passed every kind of land banking bill that is. The problem is that the land banking is moving too slow and it's not working up to snuff. But in order to just build a real city, we've got to build communities. Birmingham has not had a real housing development built since Oxmoor, and a portion of that is in the cutoff. We need comprehensive plans that deal with clusters of housing. She mentioned Hoover. Hoover is building 5,000 houses, but they're building communities. Communities are houses that are at least 50 to 100 to 250 in nature that build clusters of housing. Why is that important? Because if you're building clusters, you're building families. Single family housing breeds people. Birmingham now needs people because we are down so many people because they've left. We are number 4 behind Huntsville, Mobile, and Montgomery, but my plan will be a plan to build houses, to work with the black contractors, but other contractors, but also to make building housing in our neighborhoods an incentive to those who want to do business in Birmingham. We're going to rebuild some developments, but we're going to figure out how to use the land base that we have to build housing developments. This is the simplest way to do it. I don't care who else comes behind me, but unless you can build housing development that's going to bring people, you're not going to build these communities back. Thank you.
Mr. Rice, building new homes and commercial spaces, what is your plan?
Testing. Okay, so from 2019 to about 2025, we've seen probably thousands of apartment units and malls be renovated in downtown Birmingham or built brand new. They were using low-income housing tax credit to attract investors, new market tax credits to attract investors. They're using the federal opportunity zone to attract investors. They're using the commercial downtown development authority, the downtown redevelopment authority. They're using all these incentives. We need to make sure these incentives also get to these other areas where we also need to develop as well. In places like West End or places like Bush Hills, the federal opportunity zone was removed for 10 years, 2018 to 2028. It's 100% write-off. It's taken away from the majority of our communities. Taken away from West End, taken away from Central Park, taken away from Fairview, taken away from Easley, taken away from Wildwood. And everyone knows that one single page slide on every zip code in the city, signed off by Mayor Randall Woodfin, sent to Governor Ivey, and then we're locked out for 10 years. So it's very important that we focus on incentives in our communities. In 1990, the Birmingham Chamber of Commerce, they created a list of about 20 different ideas on how to add incentives to housing for housing development. All the ideas are out there. We just have to be intentional about making sure they come into our communities. We also have been seeing NCRC with the development at 1430 Pratt Highway, the development at Bellevue, the developments in Woodlawn. They are using our tax dollars and they're giving them to our state developers. And then locally, our own developers not getting access to this money. And most of these developments are not being complete. So we need to be intentional about investing in local business who are intentional about building more housing in our city so we keep those tax dollars in the city and we can build more housing here.
Thank you. Mr. Russell?
Let me go back and kind of iterate a few things I said about annexation. First of all, I left off Forest Day. All those communities that I named by annexing to the city of Birmingham, all those people pay garbage fee. We passed 10, 12 years ago a referendum that Birmingham would not have to be one of the cities that pay garbage fee. Birmingham and Bessemer are the only 2 cities that don't pay garbage fee. We passed a referendum that Birmingham would not be able to charge the citizens of Birmingham a garbage fee unless it get approved of the people. Second of all, you talking about building homes. The first thing I would do is everybody that comes to work with the city of Birmingham, I would give them $15,000 and a piece of land. Those veterans that on the street all those houses that you demolished down, I will utilize that material from those houses and build every veteran, whether under the bridge, out of the bridge, wherever you are, I will build them a home. Because everyone knows that if you've been to the wall, sometimes you come back, all your marbles not in the right range. So I will utilize all those funds in turn, the material that come from these houses that we just tear down and take the lumber somewhere. You can get enough material from those houses that you tear down to build every veteran a home in the city of Birmingham. Second of all, those houses you talked about for the homeless people, they don't even have a bathroom. I will do the same thing with them. We call them dog houses. So the city of Birmingham can really grow. Also, I will utilize all the resources that we have in terms of putting it in a package. Make sure that the citizens of Birmingham will be the first-class citizens that we might live in. Again, every person that comes to work on my administration, city employee, I will give them $50,000 and a piece of land and build a house for them themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Mr. Woodson.
I really, test, 1, 2. I really want to take my time to say this right here. My focus immediately would not be new houses, it would not be new businesses and the like. It would not, because in the western, northern, and parts of the eastern part of town, the poverty rate is about 34%. We've got 32,000 seniors, most of them are living on fixed income. We've got retired city employees. They're not going to afford a new house. And we're not going to build new houses in 66 of the 99 neighborhoods because the market won't sustain it. To build a new house, you're not going to build it under $180,000. Miss Millie's not going to move to a $180,000 house. We've got to take care of our most vulnerable. We have working class families, you all. We need to spread these lots out. We're not going to build lots in Bellevue Heights and all of that. It's taken 20 years to build 10 houses for something like $12 million. They don't sell. The market doesn't support it. Now here's the other thing. We're not going to deal with the food deserts, the grocery stores, until we stabilize the communities. If the housing units are in decline behind Parkway East, Highway 78, over here on Highway 75, over in Bellevue, if they're on decline, then the businesses aren't going to come there because you're on decline. They want to be a part of a renaissance. They want to have a plan for the redevelopment of Parkway East and what's going to happen with the housing and how we're going to take 20,000 houses and bring 60,000 people back. They want to be a part of something. I was a HUD housing developer during 2008. I know what I'm talking about. All this sounds good. We've got to build our business corridor with an economic development strategy to recruit new small businesses. We'll do that.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Also, on our next question, Mr. Cap, I'm sorry, not intentional, Mr. Africa. I am, yes, sir.
A lot of us have some ideas, and they're absolutely right, all my colleagues up here. And particularly, Mr. Woodson, you are not going to sell a person that's making $15, $18 an hour, $180,000 house. It's not realistic. Brian talked about the federal opportunity zone. There are two people sitting at this table that fought for Wylie, Pratt, downtown Inslee, 5 Points West. Those areas were excluded from the federal opportunity zone. I met Brian 2 years ago. He was already working on it. We got together. Brian took the case to court. I was just supportive in terms of doing law research. Nobody else, none of our leadership, sitting here or anywhere else, spoke up about it. We asked them to speak up about it. They didn't use their platform to speak up about it. Why do we need federal opportunity zone? Because it gives an incentive financially and tax rebates for you to build commercial as well as residential. We have to get the minimum wage up beyond where it is now for people to, and I would consider affordable. I would think if it was like from 80 to 135,000, I think that's fairly reasonable. But we got to get income numbers up. Number one is safety.
30 seconds.
If it is perceived that the community is fairly safe and clean, you can get people to start coming back in. The Regional Planning Commission had a plan back in 2017 that was presented to the current administration. And guess what?
15 seconds.
When the current administration got in office, they ignored that plan. I will revisit that plan. I know the director very well with fraternity brothers.
Time. Mr. Woodson, would you like to rebuttal? And Mr. Rice, would you like to rebuttal since your names were mentioned? You have 30 seconds. If you wish to take that time, that's fine. If you wish to pass, just say pass.
Yeah, I want to say this right here. The housing that I'm talking about and the land bank. The land bank, y'all, it depends on who's leading it. It's just a tool. It doesn't fix anything. It's the people. So we got to use these tools. And if we don't get people back in these communities, then our churches will suffer, the rest of the remaining businesses will suffer, and it will all collapse around us.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Rebuttal. And since their names were called, Mr. Russell, yours was not. We're just allowing them to rebuttal because they were directly mentioned. Mr. Rice.
And just to add to the federal opportunity zone thing, so program, it's in place from 2018 to 2028, so we've lost that opportunity. But under the new beautiful tax bill, it's coming back at the end of 26, beginning of 2027. So we must be prepared to make sure the right communities are included. We cannot have someone who works at UAB and works in the Economic Development Department and selected everything around at UAB. We must be intentional about making sure it is fair across the city.
Thank you. Rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and our existing storefront fronts. Rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts. What is your plan to work with existing businesses, existing homeowners, and keeping the rehab going and expanding? Let's start with Brian K. Rice.
So, I'm thankful that one when the mayor brought up the other day, our state representative man brought up the Morehouse SGA Friends. We have seen a lot of deals done in the city of Birmingham that's going to Atlanta, they just don't make any sense. So let's talk about existing homes. We've seen $500,000 go to Greenwood and College Hills to do minor repairs on homes to a group called House Proud Atlanta. We've seen the same thing in Wildland, a group called House Proud Atlanta getting $420,000. We've seen the same thing with the Crossplex. Morehouse Friends are getting the $1.4 million no bid contract for the Crossplex. We're seeing this of the Atlanta Drone Company. Friends out of Atlanta are getting these deals. So we must invest in local first. And anything that's related to housing, that does two things. We get our housing developed, but then also we're building up local contractors, we're building up local businesses. We give a lot more opportunity here. One of the things that I would do in the first 100 days is meet with as many business owners as possible across the city. So call it all business owner meeting in the first 100 days. Those in the thriving areas and those in the neglected areas. And we must figure out a way to remove any interferences that are stopping development. We have to restore these buildings so we can put businesses in there, so we can figure out a way to increase the living wage in the city. We have to increase how much we're making. We're talking about affordable housing, but we're poor. We're so used to our poverty that we're celebrating demolition. Let's celebrate development.
Mr. Russell.
First of all, I had the opportunity for 2.5 years to work on the Birmingham Redevelopment Task Force. And that was some of the things that came out of the Redevelopment Task Force. Now, when I'm elected, I'm going to take downtown East, make it like Wall Street. I'm going to take the Nixon building and put it into a building where we can be able to house at least a city council or county commission in those buildings. Because then I'm going to turn around and name 19th Street after Eddie Kendrick, Avenue High, and named after Paul Williams. And when we will do the thing where we're gonna celebrate those two guys. You know, those are guys that fall of the temptation. So we not utilizing our resource as we should. So that there's a great opportunity for us to put money back down to ends, because all the development money that was down to ends, it was moved to Woodlawn. Council school money was moved to Woodlawn. They had to put $4 million into a council school, which they didn't do. And what I want to do is, if we have around 2,200 kids who's in the foster care, I want to take council school and turn it into a foster care, something like the art museum, where kids can come and stay and live. They don't have to live all over town. People say, why is that? We need to do that because in the city of Birmingham, we have about 72% of the households are female. So just to give a female some relief, every child, every police station, fire station, I will make sure that those stations have at least 5 students from the public school of Birmingham. And therefore, they will be able to give them a job so they can help those parents to pay their bills. So this is a great opportunity for us to branch out, move back into the black community, and make things happen. Make things happen in Ensley, Wiseman, North Birmingham, and those practices, those other areas. The money that was taken from those areas went over to the south side.
Mr. Woodson?
Here's what we do with the businesses, abandoned buildings and the like. I currently have a partnership on one of my organizations with the Small Business Administration of the U.S. We also have partnerships with EEDI over at Auburn University, Government Economic Development, with the EDAA, some other folks that work in economic development. We'll come to each section of town and we'll look at it and see what their unique problems or challenges and concerns, and we will develop an economic growth strategy for Parkway East, for Roebuck, for Arkadelphia, and these vacant buildings and the like. Cities don't develop buildings and that kind of deal. So we'll bring the landowners together, we'll see what can be aggregated, and we will create a plan for Highway 78. We will create a plan also for 5 Points West and for Ensley. Now that plan won't be for that economic area alone. It has to be for the whole area. So that means that we've got to attract dollars around it for infrastructure, for community development as well. And now you're inviting them to a movement. We'll bring in real economic developers, not just staff guy that works somewhere. We'll complete projects. And we know how to recruit businesses. Right now, we're not recruiting businesses. Our teams will go to the shows that are all around the country to recruit businesses. We understand why the Crossplex has failed, because we promised when we recruited all of those businesses to the Crossplex,
30 seconds.
We promised them that we would have an anchor of the Crossplex, and that we would have an amphitheater over here, and then you can bring your barbecue restaurants and the rest and fill in. What they secretly did was, when they heard we were going to put a Crossplex on the west side, they plugged it, put it over here, and that's why all of those restaurants backed out. They betrayed us on the western side of town. They didn't communicate with us and let us know, and the projects failed. I won't do that to you. I will stand for you.
Thank you. Mr. Africa? Rehab, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts. What's your plan? Rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts. What is your plan to deal with existing businesses and keep them in the city of Birmingham and homeowners as well?
I was the founder of the Smithfield Merchants Association back in 1983. There's a reason black businesses and black contractors, well, not just black contractors, but because if you look at my sheet that WGLE failed to look at last week when they excluded me from the Copacabana, you would have seen who my major contributors were. They were small businesses, they were regular people, they were black contractors, there were a few white contractors. They got behind me for a reason, because I have been pro-business for a very long time. The federal opportunity zone that I mentioned, that only myself and my friend up here sitting here, there are only two of us that fought for it. You know what neighborhood they did not exclude from the federal opportunity zone, y'all? It was only one in the black community. Smithfield, you know why? Because I'm here at the Merchants Association and I was on top of it. They would not dare mess with Smithfield. That's why Smithfield is in the federal opportunity zone. It was never excluded, but they excluded 5 Post West. What was the leadership? They excluded Whitehall, downtown business district. What was the leadership? What was the leadership in Inslee? You didn't have any. If you had it, they weren't on their job. When you put me in, you have a critical, analytical thinker, and I will also
30
have
seconds.
top people from around the country, if I have to recruit them, if I can't get them locally, to make sure that they will never disrespect the black community again.
Wonderland Cabana.
Listen. Y'all, listen. From one end to this table to the next, these are the same comments that I hear every time I'm running for office for State House. From when I started working on political campaigns many, many years ago, the question is implementation. We know what it takes to draw business in our areas, but the problem is nobody's implementing it. All of these are pretty good ideas that are coming out each year. At the end of the day, until you clean up this city, until you make these neighborhoods, these storefronts viable, it's not going to happen. Developers drive these neighborhoods all the time. When they drive, they're looking and they have a checkoff. Are the streets resurfaced? Are the neighborhoods viable? Is this an opportunity or a neighborhood where people will come to shop? Are there cars parked all over the yards? Is there paper everywhere? And until you can clean up your city and clean up where you are, you're not going to get the type of investments in storefronts and viable businesses. I'm just going to talk straight talk with you all. I said, it's 10 days left. It all works hand in hand. And until we get the infrastructure, until we rebuild back these neighborhoods, when people come in, yes, we need anchor tenants. I've been the one preaching about anchor tenants. If you don't have an anchor tenant to drive much of this growth, you're going to just build and rebuild back some of the mom and pops. But guess what? They will eventually fail. My plan is simple. We're going to bring in the anchor tenants, but we're going to fix the problems that surround in order to make the businesses sustainable. That is why you see every door that opens in a few months is closed. Because the businesses are not sustainable because they don't have the proper infrastructure. And that's what we need, an administrator who will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, same type of question in a sense, development, housing in the area, but what would you do specifically for this side of town? Mr. Russell?
Thank you for the question. First of all, I live in Pratt City. I live right on Cherry Avenue. In 2011, that's when the storm came to Cherry Avenue. At that time, President Barack Obama was the president. They had a plan to redevelop the whole Pratt City area. But what happened was, William Nail was the mayor at the time. Instead of William Nail going out to get co-engineer to clean the place up in like a week, they used his partner. I can't think of the guy's name for the waterwork to pay $13 million to have the place cleaned up. And what happened to the place is the place didn't get cleaned up in time. So the federal government took the money from Pratt City. Pratt City is supposed to be a #1 city. They took the money from Pratt City and took it carried down to Tuscaloosa. This is why when you go through Tuscaloosa, you see Tuscaloosa how it's grown. That money that went to Tuscaloosa, that what President Obama had for Pratt City, it should have gone to Pratt City. Pratt City was developed. This is why they closed down Danny Payne School, because they didn't build those houses back, so Danny Payne School didn't have enough students, so they had closed Danny Payne School and merged the school down with Southampton School. So what I would do, I would go back to DC and see can we get that money redeveloped for how Pratt City become a #1 city in the city of Birmingham, because the money, like I said, was already there.
30 seconds.
Second of all, I would also make sure that each community would get a share of money for their city. But I can't say enough about the money that should have gone to Inslee, Wild, and Pratt City. That money went to Woodlawn. That money would have stayed down in Inslee. We could develop Inslee again, like a Black Wall Street. We could have developed a lot of things down to time Inslee. So again, there is some money still available for that, and I'll be willing to work with you.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson.
So when it comes to Pratt City, the money is no longer there in DC. What people didn't know was that in 2011, I wasn't just working as a nonprofit, I was working with FEMA. We had offices in FEMA. President Obama wanted to make Pratt City the first $1 billion recovery in American history for that disaster. In those offices up there, they had me come out into the community and to create a community team at a local church here. And I went over there with Pastor Williams and began to set things in place, but the local people didn't understand what I was doing. So we had politicians that were and represented this area. They kept undermining our efforts. Mayor Bell had appointed me to be on faith-based and the response and all of that, and he put me over that, and I was organizing. Therefore, that's why FEMA was working with me. Because of the way our politicians treated FEMA, what they did was they moved out of Birmingham, went to Montgomery, and made the decision to make Tuscaloosa now the focus point for the recovery. That's what happened because I was a part of it. There was $1 million worth of lumber that the governor called me about to come here. I tried to get the armory to put it in. They would not allow me to put it in the armory. I sent it to Tuscaloosa. That happened twice. So Pratt has just been undermined to the nth degree, but it's not too late.
15.
It's not too late. Our communities can be redeveloped. We can do more than do a half a part, but we've got to have a real plan. And right now, there is no real plan, and there's no plan on the table because people do not care about it.
We have been asked to have a rebuttal by Ms. Gavan, 30 seconds. One moment, go ahead, Mr. Woodson. Rebuttal. Yes, sir. 30 seconds.
I need to rebut because it's 2011, when that storm hit, I got Scottsville boots on the ground every day, on the phone with Pastor Lewis to get the center open to begin to move the processes around here. Now, what I will not do is allow anyone to come in here with makeshift plans and sugarcoat things that they have done.
15.
So great. At the end of the day, when this city and this area needed someone in 2011 to bring the National Guard in here because of looting and folks' properties being taken, it was one of the men demanded that. So I cannot allow that conversation to take place.
May I rebut that?
20 seconds.
Sure. Look, I didn't know who was the political leaders on the ground. I just know that they were the problem. I told Reverend Williams that these politicians and other folks on the ground were the problem. Those politicians confronted me about that during that time. I was just communicating what FEMA said, that there was a problem and they would pull out because of these politicians.
Time. Okay, we're going to move on. The next person is Mr. Africa. Yes, sir. Speaking of rehabilitation, storefronts, existing things, what are you doing at homes? What are you going to do for this side of town? Specifically, this side of town. Not downtown, not uptown, not midtown, this side of town.
Tess, okay. I'm so happy you asked that question because I consider myself West because I live at 7th Street and 11th Court. That is called infamously down that hill where the first bombs went off. I'm a victim because when I was going to the gym, I was enjoying retirement for the last 5 years, and I was going to the gym every day with my grandkids. I didn't have a gym to go to in Birmingham that was fully equipped like they got on Highway 150. that complex there, like Hoover has. Like Alabaster is building with only 33,000 residents and a fraction of our budget. We have a $591 million budget. We don't have a gym that we can go to in the city of Birmingham that's fully equipped with an indoor swimming pool. Mr. Bell, who supported my colleagues sitting next to me, built in Fountain Heights a $3 million gym. Those dummies didn't put the swimming pool on the inside where you can enjoy it year round. So, the first plan will be, after I take care of security, the foot patrols, would be to have a first-class, world-class athletic and entertainment center. You're going to tell me black folks don't have culture? We shouldn't have theater? We don't have a theater anymore. When I was going to raise some kind of black theater. But the current administration tore down those parts.
30 seconds.
So I'm also going to demand that we get our $5 million back from Birmingham Southern, and we're going to redistribute that back into our community. Forestdale, I'm going to ask the citizens there, can we advertise for population and Brighton, because I want the industrial park to build an exhibition driving complex. We have to get the population back up. We need many complexes where people can exercise and get healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gavan. What would you do for this side of town in housing and retail and cleanup? What are you going to do for this side of town?
Listen, first of all, I'm asking everyone in here to go to gavanfromair.com. My plan is simple. The first 122 days, that is 99 neighborhoods, 23 communities. We're going to get this city cleaned up. Mayor Langford did it in 23 days, the 23 communities, but we're going to combine both. That's going to be the first thing we're going to do. We're going to clean this city up. Secondly, we're going to deal with the issue of crime, for which no one at this table these past 4 years now that everybody's running for mayor. Everybody's running for mayor because they think the mayor that's there is vulnerable. No one at this table said one thing about the number of deaths, the crime, the trash, the brush, or litter and debris. But I am here today because I'm going to move these communities forward. So my plan of action is going to be this for our crime. The Birmingham Protect and Serve Policing Partnership Plan, where we're going to deal with de-escalation training. We're going to deal with the issue of putting crime plan in each neighborhood. We're going to also allow for substations to be put in our high crime areas. We only have about 300 and something, not quite about 400 law enforcement officers. We're going to get law enforcement officers to make our city safer so we can bring businesses back. That's number one. We're going to fix that public works department down the street, where we're going to get more people working. Right now, there's less than 500 public works employees. Why am I talking about business plans? Because you cannot continue to run on a city that is not being run by not offering the services that you need. If you do that, you'll bring business, you'll bring development, and you will have better and livable, what is called livable communities. A plan for our children. We have 17 freaking swimming pools, only 4 of them open, and I wouldn't let my child swim in not one of them. Make sense. These are the things that build communities. Park and recreations, better park designs, better developments. We have children swinging in pools, but when the foot hit the ground, if it's raining, guess what? Their feet are drowning in the pools. Let's work to build a better community, and that's what I'm going to do. Go to gavanfromair.com.
Thank you. Mr. Rice, what are you going to do for this side of the community, this side of town?
I'm glad we're very specific about this side of town. One of the first things I would do in the Alabama A&M grad is contact Alabama A&M about Birmingham Southern. We have to figure out how to move that deal forward. The next thing, when it comes to development in our communities, there's an amendment called Amendment 772. It says that if you add to economic development, then you can grant resources. We've been granting resources through that Amendment 772 to a lot of other types of companies for years, but for some reason that's not getting to our communities. Let's give you an example. We used Amendment 772 to give $9 billion to the Randall and Cormac. Let's think about 7 blocks in downtown Inslee. If $1 million went to each block, we're able to develop several blocks because we as African Americans have learned to do very little, learned to do a lot with very little. But if you put that 1 building on each block, now we got 7 blocks that look very well versus 1 lot and that's completely clear and there's no development. Things like that. So now that we're in Pratt City, I will investigate everything associated with 1430 Pratt Highway. I will investigate everything associated with the Crossplex, the ramp in McCormick. Also, I'm extremely concerned about how Scott School was acquired. They said it was in an urban renewal district. It is not in an urban renewal district, but no one that day checked the laws, checked anything. But everyone that day knew it was wrong what they were doing. And everybody put their head down and they voted to go forward anyway. So we're going to be accountable about how we spend funds in our communities. We're going to be committed to building business across the city. Because we must support more jobs, we must support more families, we must support more youth.
15 seconds. 15 seconds. Do you want to take that time? You want to yield?
I would thank you.
You will yield. Mr. Russell?
Okay, first thing I would.
Pardon me, why would you like a rebuttal? Why would you like a rebuttal? Was your name called? Okay, he was a state politician.
Through leadership, the Birmingham College Scholarship and Career Fair. We've done over $300 million in college scholarship to over 12,000 children, quietly. If it came down to feeding Birmingham, we did the same thing, relationships. We went to each major denomination, and in those denominations, we said we want to distribute food across the entire state of Alabama. That's relational power. In the corporate community, will they respect you? Will they open their door to you? I've worked with the heads of these corporations for years as we created Blueprint Birmingham. I met with them every month, be it Montgomery, be it DC. At the end of the day, relationships are a force multiplier. And you want to make sure that you send someone in that seat that has a history of healthy relationships with our partners. Did you say time?
You got 10 seconds.
Oh,
proceed.
A history of that. A history of being able to get things done. We have built things, we have strategic agreements with the SBA to work with our small businesses. We'll work with more than 1,000. If people don't like you, they don't work with you.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson.
Thank you.
Mr. Africa, relationships. Relationships, how would you work with community clergy, CEOs, building relationships? Do you think that's a problem? Do you think that you've had issues with things leaving, you've lost your water, you've lost some of your sporting, you lost on the crime issue, relationships? Do you think those relationships would have to be nurtured, or do you think you're good? Everything's good, everything's moving. What's your thought?
The Black church is the most stable institution in the Black community, the Black church. I've been campaigning this month, will be 12 months I've been campaigning. I started a long time ago. I did not want to do it, but Freeman Hill got sick, so I couldn't support him. Had I known Brown was going to get it, I probably would have supported him. But I started out at the church pastor. You know, I came here months ago. And I have been very well received. Those institutions are where we must start the foundations of things that we need to do in the community, because that's the pillar. Unfortunately, that's the only pillar that we have other than the graveyard. So I understand those necessary relationships because, again, I'm the only one up here that's been in the community for 40 years. Getting $3 million for Smithfield for the enterprise zone, competing with other cities, by the way. $8,000 for the boys club on a place called the Yard in Smithfield. I didn't ask for a penny. We loaned them. I gave them my land to use, and my partner did everything else. I understand relationships. I went to Carl Jones, even though it's in Fairfield, and told him that if we, College Jones is a black grocery store, if you all don't know, if I were to become mayor, we're gonna make sure we
30
create
seconds.
we will make sure we create black millionaires in our community, because in 80 years, I've not seen any black millionaires being created out of the current administration. Again, I mentioned my mentors.
15.
Mayor Jackson, Cole Young said, crime is the ultimate result of economic deprivation. Mary made a lot of black millionaires. He built black businesses. They deemed him mayor for life in Washington, D.C.
Time.
I had the opportunity to live in D.C. for a while during that period of time.
Ms. Cavan, relationships.
I'm very intentional in this comment. You cannot have a strong urban city without a strong relationship with the church. I've never seen it happen except for the last 8 years. The first relationship that has to be reestablished in City Hall has to be with the faith-based organizations, faith-based ministries. I am proposing in my plan, the Van Plan 2025, to be the first mayor to create an office of faith-based initiatives. We have a homeless crisis in this city. We have an issue with the homeless, we have an issue with squatters, we have an issue with those that have been disenfranchised. We have church doors. It is the greatest foundation, making it the greatest corporation that has ever been built. It's undeniable. But the doors are closed Monday through Sundays now. We have an issue with feeding the homeless. So that relationship matters. Why? Because we should be putting money back into these churches to assist us in operating the homeless shelters, or at least feeding the homeless, but also working with us as we build shelters to get them off the streets. For me, that is the most important relationship. Why? Because the corporate relationships will come. But our problems in our communities are problems that are so deeply rooted that we cannot get ahead. Also, it goes back to what I said in the beginning. You have to have someone who cares. So to build the corporate communities, to build the relationships with your governmental entities and your governmental officials. But I'm going to tell everybody, y'all need to get a civics book. A civics book to help you understand the
15 seconds, 15 seconds. Mike, you got 15, we'll retake your 15, we start now, 15 seconds.
Can you hear me now? I'm going to say to each of you, get a civics book so you can know and understand the role of everyone that you are electing to office and what that role entails. A debate happened in our post this last week. WJLD. The only thing this mayor has been concerned about is the fact that I used the term randemic, reference him speaking as Michael Jackson, and now he's trying to give the impression he's not bothered. We have a lot of issues other than the fact someone calling you randemic. Make it make sense, Birmingham.
Time. Mr. Rice, relationships, clergy, community, and others.
At the beginning of that, you also mentioned Birmingham Water, Birmingham Stallions. I'm thankful for the background that I have had. For 20 plus years, I've been trained in business development, mostly manufacturing, construction, and trades. Sometimes I'm at a $100 plant and I have to learn how to interact with Koreans. Sometimes I'm at a Japanese plant, sometimes I'm somewhere else. But we learned a lot of different trades, and so I'm thankful for that background. We must create stronger business relationships across the city. We have to figure out a way to create more business in the city. The other thing, I'm extremely concerned about relationships connected to the Birmingham Waterworks Board. I believe our city the current leaders are too compromised to lead. If they are involved in multiple ethics violations and no one is holding them accountable, these are great negotiating points for the other side. If you elect people who are too compromised to lead, the city is going to continue losing. They can take whatever they want. They want the same people back in because they get to take as much as they want. So I'm extremely concerned about that, so we must get guardrails back in City Hall. We must hold people accountable to show that we have standards of excellence Also, when it comes to Major League Baseball or Youth Academy, I'm a baseball player. To see a program like that to be destroyed is a shame. So we must be in a relationship with the Major League Baseball to bring that program back here. It was a $10 million program for here, and we lost it. When it comes to the clergy, we're all over the city, and our city is struggling. But also, the city is struggling to support the city. So we must work together to figure out how to do more. So with that, I want to do what Larry Langfield was attempting to do. I want to start calling with all hands meeting with the black males, all hands meeting with the women, all hands meeting with the church and others. And we're going to move the city forward.
Thank you. Our next question, same type of thing. It appears that at City Hall, there is a mandate to help everybody but anyone over 50. And to help anyone in situations, as Ms. Gavan just illustrated, not having an actual office of senior services, an actual faith-based mental health or homeless type of initiative that is directly where there is one concentration, yet you have an LGBTQI plus representative liaison, thank you, Mr. Woodson, liaison. What would you do and how would you proceed on making sure that your senior population has direct services from your office and that your additional communities, i.e. your clergy and your neighborhood presidents, have their representative so that they don't have to track you down and that they will continue to make sure that their voices are heard, not silenced. And I know that was long, but basically it goes back to relationships and how you have them directly involved in your office on a day-to-day basis, not when there's a crisis. I'm sorry, Mr. Africa, you're first.
Have you had your first question?
Mr. Woodson was last. We gave Mr. David Russell a pass to go, and so now we're back to square one. Thank you.
Test. I want you to remember the notation that I started August of last year, and my hand bills have been out to date, about 10,000 of them, starting this morning. The reason I'm dressed like I am, because I was running on the ground with my crew at 7 o'clock a.m., so I picked it up at 6:15. The first one, I think one of the top pillars on my handbill is to eliminate the office of LGBTQIA and treat all citizens with dignity and respect. I had an argument, I know that community very well, but they have not been tagged, had ancestors that were tagged to horses all through the 4 limbs and pulled in separate directions, burned at the stake. The children fed to alligators in Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi. They've not gone through that. This lady actually argued with me, thinking that they should have special privilege. As it pertains to our seniors, we do need to, I'm a senior, so you know I'm gonna work out for us. We have to have a special liaison to have extra things for seniors because some of them are handicapped. As I went around the city throughout the time I've been campaigning, and especially the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of mental illness, y'all, and it's not just seniors. There's young black men out here that have got charges put on them falsely. And by the way, I got a 13-year track record. The Mufami Lake committed for prison support in 1983, and I got the other one last year, February. Humanitarian Award, committed for prison support. It's called the Mufami Lake Award. I am sensitive to the needs of all people. That's the right guy.
Thank you. Ms. Commander.
Thank you. biggest crises facing our seniors is rent. We have a lot of seniors who are renters and not homeowners, but we also have seniors who have had to take out reverse mortgages, and you will be surprised at the number of seniors that are now losing their homes. We must address the housing crises and to address the issues that are impacting our seniors. We must allow them the opportunity to have a belief that we are here to help them and that whatever they're going through, that there's somebody to listen to them. One of the things in my platform is going to be a Real Talk Friday with the mayor, chatting with you. I'm going to begin this back. Larry Langford implemented this under his administration, where I allow people to come in and have a conversation with me. I allow them to come in to talk to me about their needs. One of the biggest issues also in our community with our seniors is senior fitness. For the last 4 years, I've been sponsoring every Thursday and Tuesday a senior fit program right here now. It's at One Pratt Park, where we have about 50 to 60 women in One Pratt Park at the library to come in, and we address issues such as senior health. We also do things and provide activities for them. But most importantly, one of the things that I'm going to do is to definitely, again, connect with the church. Here again, this is whether, and I'm not saying this because I'm in the church. My strongest voting base are seniors. I'm not ashamed to tell you, I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm not worried about anyone taking that base. My strongest base has been my seniors. Why? Because I see them, I engage with them, I talk to them, and I do my best to help service their needs. And for me, that is going to also continue to remain a priority. Why? Because they are that lost conversation. Should they be? Absolutely not. So we're going to continue to work with individuals such as Tracy Johnson. We're going to continue to work with the ARC. We're going to continue to work with all of those social service agencies to assist our communities. But lastly, I want to say one thing. One of the other 15 issues for our seniors right now is one that they should not have, and that is living in their houses, afraid of the people who are living next door to them that are squatters. And we must get these squatters out of these houses that they did not pay for, did not purchase, and are not the true renters of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rice?
One of the first things that this administration did was get rid of the institutional knowledge at City Hall. There's a former attorney that I talked to from time to time, and she made sure I knew that he got rid of a lot of people who was experienced. And these are those who are over 50, and that is very disappointing. The other thing that a former master planner said, we are not transferring institutional knowledge from administration to administration. Now when it comes to seniors, something I'm extremely concerned about is our demolition plan. Our demolition plan has been in place since 2011, since we started implementing the Birmingham Land Bank program, I think around 2012 or so. So we've been tearing down homes in these underutilized areas or underserved areas. All it is doing is destroying the property values of the seniors, those who have spent their entire lives paying for these properties. And we as a city have a policy where we're destroying their property values and we're not intentionally developing around them. That is a shame on the city. So that policy or those policies have been taking place. I'm going to make sure they are removed. We're going to focus on redevelopment in our communities. Also, it is a shame that as large as we are as a city, we do not have a large multi-purpose complex. We have too many people going to McCalla, going to Hoover. Yes, they may do a railroad park program. Yes, they may do something at One Pratt Park, but we should have a complete complex that all have access to. We can't build them across the city at one time, but we need to make sure we have a super complex that competes with all the surrounding city, that supports our seniors, that supports our youth, that supports all adults. So I want to be intentional about making sure we are able to compete against all the neighboring cities. And I'm committed to that as Brian K. Rice.
Thank you. Mr. Woodson?
One of the things that I've already started to use my connections for is to form an Office of Faith-Based and Community Service at the city level. Began the connections in Montgomery and also in DC because dollars are going to be coming down. And this is where we will house our compassion initiatives, where we declare war on homelessness and and not on the homeless people. It's where we take care of the widows and the orphans and those that are most vulnerable, and we commit 1% of our budget. We need solutions. We're going to do that. We're also going to have the Office of Senior Advancement. Our seniors are not all that savvy with technology, so what we want to be able to support those 32,000 seniors with case managers there in the city. We also want to work with organizations that help parents that are in transition from living independently to dependently, and the families need support in figuring that out and how to maximize the services that are available. We're also going to have the Office of Youth Wellness, to where we're taking care of our children. The most vulnerable, impoverished person in Birmingham, Alabama right now is the 15-year-old black girl. So much so that people are raising funds for personal hygiene items. We've got to build our nonprofit sector up, because that creates a circle of intervention around families. We need to build up that nonprofit sector to strengthen our families, to make sure that our children transition well. And last but not least, again, homes, blight, and apprenticeship programs. We got to give our young men something else to do. And we got to depend on the city council to pass a rental property inspection ordinance to take care of every abandoned, blighted property and to deal with those landlords. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to open it up to the floor. Is there anybody with questions for today's candidates? I will walk over to you.
My name is Herschel Hicks. I'm the Vice President of Smithfield Estates Neighborhood Association. My question is, y'all know 70 Highway is a dangerous intersection. We need more light cameras on that intersection. We need more death and accident. We need your help on that. Once you make, and one of y'all gonna make mayor, but when you get in, don't forget, in that gas station right there to the left, 11 o'clock at night, it's packed. We need to clean that up. I don't know what's going on over there, but I know they're not buying gas. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm the Vice President. We have our meeting today at 2 o'clock to 3 today. We're going to talk about what went on today and let you know. Like I said, one of you all gonna make me. Okay? Thank you.
I can start with Mr. Vander, and any one of you can take that, and you can raise your hand. I'll go to each one of you. You guys have about, because we're trying to wrap you up, take 60 seconds, please, and the timekeeper will keep us on time. No closing statements. Please answer the gentleman's question. Leader.
First of all, infrastructure.
60 seconds.
People don't think that these lights are part of infrastructure. We're thinking that we're just looking at streets and things. We must get lighting in these areas. I've been making this argument for the last 4 years dealing with the crime. It's not that the west side of town is so bad. It's the side that is so dormant because of the lights, because of all of the vacant lots in between one or two houses, and then there's dormancy. We must continue to put shot spotters, but we must put better lighting in these neighborhoods, not just on every other street, but every street. And so that is one of the things that I'm going to work to make sure that we bring about. Also, not just the lights, we've got to do better with our neighborhood watches in this area also, and to rebuild better our neighborhood watch associations. Thank you.
Mr. Rice. And then Mr. Woodson, and then Mr. Africa. 1 minute.
State law, city ordinances says we must, have conserve property values. It also talks about lighting. We must implement safety programs, et cetera, et cetera. To live on the west side, you see the darkness. A lot of times when I drive downtown, I feel like I'm in a whole different city. I say that light comes up here, but I feel like the sun does not come up on the west side. So we must be committed to that. That's without an option. We must be committed to public safety. There's some intersection I go to where the stop sign may have been torn down and they put it too far back. and because the grass is too high, you can't even see the stop sign. And then there's somebody have an accident at the intersection.
15.
Things like that. But the other part of it, when you talk about those who are at those gas stations at night, I want to make sure we create programs that can reach the mind of more men and women who are not being reached. We have to reach the most at risk, and we have to show them a better life.
Time. Mr. Wilson?
The same problem that we have with our light, we have with our roadways. The franchise agreement says that if they cut 3 times within a span of road, that franchise agreement usually says they got to repay that span. But when you're going out and hanging out with these corporate people, and these are your buddies, it doesn't get done. I would probably bet on the fact that even though our lights aren't working in our community, that we're still being charged for those poles. That means that we have to hold Alabama Power accountable. We've got to hold Spire accountable. We've got to hold these folks accountable. And I don't think we're doing it now. Plus, we are to require that either they upgrade our entire lighting across the city to LED, which reduces the cost by 60%, or we start investing in our own lights, and our own cameras, and our own poles. But we've got to have that. They're not doing it, and it makes no sense to pay for something that we don't need.
Mr. Kamau Africa?
Brother Hicks. Brother Hicks.
Hello?
Yeah, we have an audio engineer. When you pick up your mic, he will know, and then he will turn you up if there's a problem. Yeah, you have 60 seconds.
All right, Brother Hicks, if you remember, I was at your all's meeting months ago, and I remember those issues that you discussed about what's going on at that filling station. When I mentioned that one of my priorities is to make sure that I annex, if I can get the citizens to support it, annex Forestdale and Brighton, but Forestdale is going to need it to both of our neighborhoods, because we got to get the population to come back to number 1. But with that comes responsibility of the city. We have to have a resource to make sure that we get it all cleaned up. Not only the filth, the dirt in the street, but get the community cleaned up. I remember right down the street here, across from, I think it's called Circle C.
15.
I had to go there and personally say something that a lot of these people don't live in our community, y'all. They live in Hoover, Alabaster. You just have to be East Indians. I'm not against them, but I had to go in there. The Thomas neighborhood president came and got me, because you know me, I'm with my emotions, and I have to. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get straight. You understand?
Time. Thank you. We have a question from the audience.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say there is great talent at this table. I see that there is great talent. And I want to go along with Mr. Herschel Hicks, our neighborhood liaison here. I want to say to you that there's one seat missing there. So after this is over with, I want everybody to take all these great ideas and get behind one candidate, so we can make your ideas come to life. And the people at this table, with all those great ideas you have, let's consolidate it behind one candidate that we can push together and take to the next level. So I hope you don't see some of y'all on the other side with a candidate who don't even come out to show up to answer questions. So I want to remember that, because we're going to be watching you. We're going to watch you and see is what you say, what you really mean. So look at each other at the table. I want y'all to look at each other. Frank, look at one. I want you, hey, come on, look at the people at the table. I want y'all to consolidate behind somebody that had the guts to come out here and answer your questions.
Thank you for that statement. Any more questions? Going right over here. Okay. We have another question from the audience.
So in 2016 and 2017, organizers and activists hit the ground running to increase minimum wage in the city of Birmingham. Minimum wage is currently at $7.25. It's the federal minimum wage, and it's still a set minimum wage today. 8 years later, now in 2025, we're still fighting to raise the minimum wage for workers. So I want to know, will you fight to increase minimum wage in the city of Birmingham? But also, in your administration, will you hire second chance offenders and implement ban-in-box under your administration?
Mr. Rice, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Africa, and Mr. Van Lask. Mr. Rice.
Back in 2016, 2017, I think it was the state of Alabama that stopped the minimum wage. I'm going to fight to grow business here. I'm going to fight to grow opportunity here. We must create more opportunity here. We are extremely poor. When we talk about the poverty rates, they may say 25% or 30%, but then we're talking about other people who make another 10 and 20,000, and they're extremely poor too. We're extremely poor. So I'm extremely committed to business, to small business, making sure as much of that money stays in the city of Birmingham, so we keep our tax dollars here, grow jobs here, support that mother, father here, support that teenager here, and we support mentoring programs here. We must grow business. We've seen too much business interference across this city. We've talked about it for the last 40 years. Black leaders are stopping black communities from developing. It doesn't matter if black or white. I'm going to focus on development in our communities.
Time. Mr. Woodson.
I say this right here, I like to figure out ways to make things work. Whether I fight for minimum wage or I fight for wage increase. I probably take an approach to fight for wage increase in this way right here, that we began to skill up our workforce, that we put in things within our community, just like we had the night schools and the like. We put things in, do partnerships with our junior colleges, we have classes in, put certifications in, so that we make them compete for the employees that are out here. That's what happens in the Ivy League areas. When they have to compete where labor is scarce and qualified labor, then the prices begin to go up. I want to skill up our workers. I would do that right there. That would be my approach, because I don't see where I as a mayor have the views to really push for that. But one thing I can do is make them compete for workers. And we saw that during the pandemic. When they had to compete, they started paying more.
Mr. Africa.
Test. The proof is in action. Dre, Cade, and Aunt George live in Smithfield. I told the mother they're bound to get in trouble. Young men sitting there not doing anything. What did I do? I actively picked one of them up. Eventually got the other one to come. In fact, I met one of them and said, Mr. Africa, I just got a job. I said, good, congratulations. I took his brother to the industrial center myself. As it pertains to second chance offenders.
15 seconds. 30, I apologize. Start over, 30 seconds.
On my TikTok, go to my TikTok, there's a gentleman by the name of Eddie Gaston. He owns ADC covers. In 91, he lost his rights. He gives you his testimony about what kind of person I am.
15.
I did that for 39 years, as I said before, helping people that were in prison. Pen pal, sending them care packages, not only men, started out with mostly black men, then it was black women, then I had a couple of white people around me because I helped them.
Ms. Cavani.
Let me deal with the first issue, the minimum wage. I fought for the minimum wage, was one of the main primary persons here on the Jefferson County delegation, filibustering everything in the world, fight the Republican Party. Listen, they tore it down, they struck it down, we had to march, we had to fight, almost burn their houses down. We are going to have to get people out to vote. We're going to have to take back not just the city, I don't even say taking back, we got to save our city, because we're facing a machine in Montgomery, a super minority. With regards to banning the box, I have sponsored every phase 1, 2, 3 of banning the box. With regards to banning the box, and for those who all do not know what that is if you have been convicted of a crime, if the question is asked, you do not have to answer that, and we do not make it a part of the final selection process. But with that being said, I have fought for the ban the box. But lastly, listen, it's simple in the city of Birmingham. We also need job training, job readiness training for our people. We can talk about increasing the minimum wage, but if we're sending our kids to jobs and they don't understand the undertaking, how to dress, how to speak, how to get the job, we need to increase the minimum wage without providing the training. On my website,
come on, question? Thank you, Ms. Cavani. We have a question from the audience.
I'd like to know from each candidate, state why you think you would be the best person for the mayor's job.
Good question, Mr. Woodson, and then we'll follow suit with Mr. Africa, Ms. Cavan, and Mr. Rice.
I believe that I'll be the best person for the job because I'm best prepared for what the city needs at this time. We've got to deal with community and economic development. I've got experience in that, real experience in doing that, stabilizing the neighborhoods. There is no revitalization without stabilizing them first. I've had the experience in doing that when I worked with the neighborhood stabilization program. Land banking, how to use that in an effective way. I have an experience with that. I understand
30 seconds.
I'm not for more rental properties. I'm not for Airbnb. I'm not for any of that because our housing structure, our rental properties already have 55% of our housing stock. Plus, I work with leaders and I empower
15
others.
seconds.
I have an experience and I have a track record of working with leaders. Not just people, but people that lead leaders. I work with them. Right now, Birmingham is failing because of leadership. I'll bring that leadership on day one.
Mr. Cavan.
One question. Are you gonna have closing statements, because this is all.
Mr. Africa, yes.
Okay, because this is almost like that, that's what I'm asking.
No, it's not. Please answer the gentleman's question.
Test. In terms of community service record, there's nobody up here, and you can put them all together again, and you can go to my website, and you can read just 16 points. When you go to the menu and about, and my website is Africa, Afrika, formair.com. People will invoke Larry's name, but I'm at 2.0. 40 years.
30 seconds.
I'm respected by I'm respected by most of the powerful white brokers in this city. I will listen to and respect all citizens
15
equally.
seconds.
And I'm respected also by underworld. You got to get them also. I sat with them about 2 weeks ago on Sunday. I told the underworld gangsters, you got to know them
Time.
because they can stop things in other folks.
Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Africa.
I will answer this question like this. 8 years ago, I am the only person sitting at this table that did not support the incumbent mayor. Make that make sense. The reason why is because I knew what the job entailed. Not just because I'm a graduate of Miles College, not just because I'm a graduate of Miles Law School, not just because I worked for Mayor Arringtonville and Kincaid, as well as the lawyer that brought Larry Langford home to die, since his name has been mentioned multiple times. I am the most qualified person because I understand the undertaking of being an administrator, as well as being an employee and a servant of the city of Birmingham, because I work there. I've worked in these streets. I've been in this position for enough time that I don't need on-the-job training. The reason why you should pick me is because I'm going to keep my word, to do my best, and to serve the people with servant, honest, and dignified leadership to get the job done. Boots on the ground, doors of City Hall open, and keeping my commitment to serve the people who have elected me. Bottom line.
Remote.
Mr. Rice.
Remote.
Mr. Rice.
Okay, just to start off real fast, I voted for William David. But I did support Mayor Woodford once he got in. I believed in what he stood for. I did not know he was telling us lies in his 90th day in office. Okay, I know.
I said 8 years ago. 8 years ago.
I said 8 years. We're gonna move on, Mr. Rice. Would you start your time again? We will gratefully give Mr. Rice his time again to answer the gentleman's question.
There is no rebuttal. There was no one names called, and we're going to move on. Thank you. I did want to hear what your argument is and give you the opportunity. Denied. And so we are now going to start again. Out of respect, Mr. Rice, please answer the gentleman's question.
The worst thing that has happened to me is the best thing that has happened to Birmingham, Alabama. For the last 15 years, my pastime is studying the economic conditions of Birmingham, Alabama. I study policy, I study history. I've been trying to figure out why our communities look the way they look. Why are they getting development deals over there? I've been looking at everything that has been happening in this city for the last 150 or so years. So that's something that's extremely unique to everyone else. The other thing, because of that $0 appraisal wiping out my equity, it made me look around Inslee, Wildwood, Pratt City, Eastlake, North Birmingham, and then I understood why these communities look like this. They do not have anyone fighting for them to make sure they have their opportunity. Too many people have looked the other way. I will not look the other way when there's an opportunity to stand up for local business. I am committed to development across the city. I am committed to the underserved. I am committed to moving this city forward.
Time, Mr. Wilson. Yeah, did you get an opportunity to respond to the gentleman's question? Did we get everybody? We did? Okay, great. All right, we are going to wrap this up. It has been a very exciting time. And first of all, let's just say thank you so much to, before we wrap up, to please give it up for Bethel Missionary Baptist Church. After we do our last session, we will go and lead in prayer, and we will make sure that, thank you to our audio engineer. And thank you to the organizing group. This forum was organized by an internal group at this location. So give it up for those folks. And I would dare say that they are all over 50. And I think y'all did a good job, seniors. Good job, good job. And also thank you to Ms. Marcia Forrest, who has been on several forums. Also our timekeeper record, Ms. Sarah Beth Conkle. And to all of you who have come out and shared your day, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to the candidates for District 9 School Board and City Council, thank you so much for coming out. There are refreshments as we leave. Please take all that stuff with you. They don't want to retain any of that. And with that said, here's the final thing. And this will be rebroadcast at, it is Bethel Pratt City on your Facebook. Is that your Facebook? Bethel Baptist Missionary Pratt City. Bethel Baptist Missionary Pratt City is where you can find this, and I'm sure Mr. Tate will be rebroadcasting this in several forms. Thanks to you on the live stream, and we will go in regard. Yeah, you don't have to tell me. We gonna make him out like the honorary mayor. You know, leave me alone. I mean, you know, I love you. You know, I love you, but you are special. It might have to be a special vote for you. That is my comment. I couldn't even resist, Brian and Mr. Wilson, because you're so gracious to be here. Thank you. I've been knowing these folks for so long. Give them a hand. Y'all are amazing people to be out here. I've been there. I know it's hard. So we're going to start with parting shots from Mr. Africa, and then Ms. Gavan, and then Mr. Rice, and then Mr. Woodson. And thank you so much. You got 1 minute to give us your parting shot to this audience and this live stream audience. Why should you take the gavel and be the next mayor of Birmingham, Alabama?
I want to thank everybody that's been participating. It's been a very long road for me more than anybody else, because 12 months out of retirement, again, was something I did not want to do, but once I committed, I committed. And I'm not going to forget about those people that are making minimum wage as I walk through the city and going to the restaurants and fed my crew. That's the first thing on my thing. It's been there for a whole year. First thing, raising minimum wage from
30 seconds.
From 7 to 15, 18 dollars an hour. And I just hope that the common people at the post office, the foot soldiers, the city workers, who I talk to, the small business people, and the police officers who know about the special plan I have for them, will stand out. Get everybody out. It's very important. This race is about getting our city off of
Time.
support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Africa. Good luck to you. Ms. Command?
It's simple, and I'm gonna close at the way I've closed during this whole entire cycle. If you like what you have, keep it. Make it make sense, Birmingham. Trash, brush, litter, debris, dilapidated housing, overgrown lots. Nowhere for our children to go, to congregate, to play, and to just even better themselves in many instances. 17 swimming pools, only 4 open. A $3 million contract advertised and let a few weeks ago, and we're at the end of the dormant season. Make it make sense. Homelessness running rampant through our community system with $1.7 million went out of state. Birmingham Southern are not open. I'm in contact with Dr. Williams almost every day or his administration. So that will be a priority for Alabama A&M. With that being said, if you always do what you always done, you're always going to get what you always got. My plan is for crime reduction, municipal court reform, education, transportation, better jobs, better neighborhoods. Listen, better city services, better crime prevention programs, and most importantly, to have a relationship with you and to allow you, the citizens, to be true stakeholders. Vote State Representative Wanda Lee Gavan, Mayor of the City of Birmingham. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gavan. Good luck. Mr. Brown.